It was an important day on the island of Sodor. A new library was going to be opened. There was going to be a ceremony, and everyone was excited. A famous storyteller was going to tell the children a special story. All the engines wanted to collect the famous storyteller, but the Fat Controller chose Thomas. "Are you the famous storyteller?" Thomas asked. "I like to think so. You must be Thomas the Tank Engine." "Of course," tooted Thomas happily. "You must show the famous storyteller the special sights of Sodor. Then he can make up a special story. He must arrive at the grand opening on time." "Yes, sir," tooted Thomas excitedly. "I know all the best sights." So the famous storyteller hopped on to Thomas's footplate, and Thomas puffed away. "The ruined castle is just over the hill. I shall take you there first," said Thomas to the famous storyteller. The ruined castle had tall turrets and a great big door. The old kings and queens of Sodor used to live there. "You could make up a jolly good story about kings and queens," puffed Thomas happily. But on his way there, Thomas saw Emily in a siding. She was looking sad. She was taking flour to the bakery, but her whistle had broken. It wasn't safe to work without it. "I'm sorry," puffed Thomas to the famous storyteller. "I cannot take you to the ruined castle. I have to help my friend." So Thomas buffered up to Emily and took her to the bakery. Thomas arrived at the bakery just in time. "Thank you, Thomas." Emily was pleased, and Thomas puffed away. "Misty Valley is not far from here," said Thomas to the famous storyteller. "Now I will take you there." He had heard Misty Valley was full of magic. You could make up a jolly good story about magic. But on his way, Thomas saw Percy. A river had flooded its banks. Percy was up to his buffers in water, and his firebox had gone out. "I'm sorry," whistled Thomas to the famous storyteller. "I cannot take you to Misty Valley. I have to help my friend." Thomas chuffed into the water. The water came right up to his footplate. Thomas bravely buffered up to Percy, and he pushed his friend out. "Thank you, Thomas," cried Percy. But now it was time to go to the grand opening, and Thomas was late. "Cinders and ashes," wished Thomas. "I haven't had time to show any sights at all." Thomas arrived at the new library station. The Fat Controller was waiting. "We didn't visit any sights," puffed Thomas sadly. "I had to take Emily's flour to the bakery and pull Percy out of the water." "But it's a wonderful idea for a story," cried the famous storyteller. "I shall write all about your day, Thomas, and how you helped your friends." Thomas was excited. She cut the red ribbon in front of the new library and declared it open. Then the children and the engines all listened as the famous storyteller told them the story of wonderful adventures with Thomas and his friends on the magical island of Sodor.